Welcome, everyone, back to another edition of Virtue and Vice. And Robbie Vice and I are back to discuss some professional wrestling during this coronavirus outbreak. What's up, man?
Surviving. I have been on high alert and on lockdown. I have left my house twice in the past maybe 8 or 9 days. Working from home has the perk of that. So I've just been kind of hanging out. Had a lot of time to watch a lot of wrestling. Unless my boss is watching, I've had a lot of time to do a lot of work. But I've definitely caught up on some PS4 backlog and been a really interesting wrestling for the past 7 or 10 days. So I'm sure we're going to jump into that. What's going on with you, man?
My thumbnail, it's going. You know, I just did a great no DQ debate. I was team AEW, and I think I won, but, you know, it wasn't about winning. It was just about explaining why I like that show a little bit more than NXT right now. Some of the wrestlers like Chris Jericho have a lot to do with that too. But empty arenas. AEW Dynamite did one of those shows last night. WWE has been doing Raw and SmackDown. They are not canceling WrestleMania. They are going to do it at the Performance Center. I heard even multiple locations. So like small little venues, probably where they can have different people, because you can't, you know, there's limits. And then the rumor today is potentially taping it all. Now, if they do it all in-house, there won't be any leaks. But I cannot believe this. Like, I feel the world is coming to an end just because the world is shutting down because of this virus. So what's your you don't have to talk about the virus, because we can all go on Google and see how the media, you know, they detail every little thing, every death, every case. They don't talk too much about recovery, though. That's interesting. But I want to know your take on these empty arena shows, and are they even going to stop? Like, are we going to be forced to stay in our house? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, we're probably going to be I think everyone's going to be in their house till about June or July this summer. I think everything will be done by then. Until then, it's going to be working from home, which is great for business for me. But it's on the other side of that, it's actually really shitty for professional wrestling because, man, these empty shows, like AEW did it way better than WWE did. Like watching Edge's promo, like Edge is so good. It's just that you can tell these guys they naturally pause for crowd reaction. It's just something they've done literally their whole careers. And it just comes off as awkward. I mean, Michael Cole and Triple H were fantastic on commentary. I feel like Triple H, if he wasn't so busy, would be a great color commentator. But man, it's just the empty arenas just don't do it for me. I mean, we had the Exalted One reveal himself. We had Matt Hardy make an AEW thing.
Now, the Matt Hardy thing was cool just because the Hardy compound, you don't need people there. Matt's presence,
I get it. One. But it was just such a letdown. Like the pop he could have got, and the pop that Brody Lee would have got, formerly known as Luke Harper. I don't know. I may have waited to see if next month they could start doing shows again before I did this. I can't do it. And I'm going to be honest with you, Virtue. I'm probably going to watch Aaron's reviews. I'm probably going to watch some YouTube clips. I'm probably going to watch AEW. AEW is probably going to be the only show I watch. I don't think I could do Monday Night Raw. Like I couldn't tell you what happened on Monday Night Raw this week, because after I realized 15 minutes into it, they're just showing the Royal Rumble again, I turned it off. But I don't know, man. I don't think I could do this outside of even NXT. NXT was awful, and I'm a big NXT supporter. And it wasn't just the empty arena. NXT actually suffered from having a shitty show booked, and I don't say that very often. This past week, NXT was disappointing, but I don't know, man. I don't think they should do these shows. WrestleMania being spread out over 2 days. I like that in the sense of I don't have to sit for 14 hours and watch WrestleMania. Like, that's cool. The fact that it's going to take 2 days sucks, but I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because they know people are stuck inside. They could drag it out over 2 days, and they're going to be able to sell to twice as many sponsors and hopefully make up some of that revenue. So that's my take, ramblings, rantings on everything coronavirus. Like, where do you sit on this? I know you don't hate the empty arenas like I do, at least as much as I do. But what do you think? Should they be doing the empty shows? Should they be doing WrestleMania 2 days? Like, what is all of Virtue's thoughts on this?
So, you know, I didn't think this virus thing was going to get that bad to, you know, maybe where they had to cancel the open air stadium, but they could still do like Full Sail or, you know, or something like that. Or they can't even do, like, sports is shut down. Like, everything is shut. Like, I'm wondering if I can even go to a grocery store in a week from now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is nuts, but let alone I just don't understand why Vince McMahon didn't postpone it. Unless that rumor is true and he's trying to make the city say, sorry, you can't do this for an insurance policy. But now that they're supposedly going to record stuff, this sounds like he's going full force with WrestleMania being in these smaller venues in the performance center, and they're going to record all this shit. And then the 2 nights of, Rob Gronkowski is going to sit there and host it. And it's going to just be like a TV show. Like
NWA Power, but worse.
Like I did like Dynamite because the way the wrestlers were out there, and that was some. But can they do that every week even? That's kind of going to be suspect. So this is nuts. Like I just can't believe McMahon doesn't have the balls to say, hey, we're going to postpone it until this thing blows over. And for now, we'll do recap shows in the studio, a lot of replays off of past shows, just so people kind of know what they're in for. But nope, it's WrestleMania, and Vince has to make history, so that's why he's doing this shit. And it was awkward. Like SmackDown was one thing. Triple H tried to add some comedy to it. But Raw was weird. Like Undertaker did not look. His gimmick relies on the crowd pop. I
agree.
He was like, he couldn't stop moving. Like he just was fidgety. It was off. Something was off. Edge, I thought, did a great job. I think he's had acting lessons.
I think so too.
Of course, Dynamite did it right with the wrestlers in the crowd to get some noise. But like this, you can't. It's mania. It's nuts. Like I would have even been suspect if they would have been able to hold it in Full Sail with 1,500 people or whatever that can hold, and to even put the thing on Fox. You know what I mean? Where it had some type of history, broadcast TV. Of course, that can't happen. So Vince McMahon trying to manipulate WrestleMania into this history-making thing because of the situation they're dealt because of this coronavirus. I can't freaking believe that it is not canceled or postponed.
Dude, he's already making the documentary of how they overcame all of the things because the show must go on. This is going to be a DVD in 5 years that they will sell for like $60 and people will buy it. What they'll call it, the infected WrestleMania, and they'll have all the people talking and crying backstage. It'll be so hammed up and stupid, and that's why. But what does this do for guys like Drew McIntyre though? I mean, this is going to be his big WrestleMania, and now he's got to do it in front of no one.
Assuming he was going to go over, I'm still suspect.
I don't think he's going to go over now. I don't think they're going to have Lesnar lose on a glorified house show.
I was suspect that Drew was going to go over anyway, but like I just can't believe we're sitting here talking. Every day these numbers are getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Italy's getting hammered now. Supposedly China hasn't had any cases in a couple of days, new ones, but you say they're like locked down by martial law or something like that.
Oh yeah, they got the old leave your house, and if you don't have a good reason. I mean, I'm not saying that the Chinese government kills their citizens, but people disappeared that were never seen again, and they know not to fuck with the law. It's not like these assholes we have in the United States down in spring break in Florida where there's like thousands of them on the beach and just drinking and making out with strangers. I don't know if we swear on this one, but fuck those guys, man. Like, there's so many abused, compromised people. They're such a selfish and shitty thing for them to do.
Dude, and when sports is canceled,
when billionaires are willing to lose billions of dollars, it's a serious situation.
And movie theaters are closed, and here we are talking. Vince McMahon is still going to have some incarnation of WrestleMania, and whether he does it in multiple locations, it's just nuts knowing that we're going to sit there and watch it. And how in the hell are they going to do these matches with no crowd reaction? Part of WrestleMania is to get that pop.
Part of wrestling is crowd reactions. I think
WrestleMania, especially because of the false finishes and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
They
got rid of Matt Hardy. They got rid of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy is like the king of everything that's about to happen. And I think that's why AEW had such a good show without fans.
They could probably
Hardy does all that shit. He loves that.
We could have half an episode of Dynamite from his backyard with just a few people there, right? Because it's personal property.
They could have, They could have a storyline where him and he moves next to Jericho and they're having a backyard barbecue and he's just doing weird shit, and people will watch it. It'll probably get close to 1 million views. I just don't think there's a lot Matt Hardy could do that's wrong. and when it comes creative wise.
So, how do you think this WrestleMania is going to go down? Like, we know they got the Performance Center. We know the rumor, the 2 nights. Okay. However many matches each night. They're not going to do the Royal Rumble or the Battle Royals, obviously. We've heard the
Thank
rumor
God.
of taping it this week,
Yeah.
getting it all in the can in multiple areas, like multiple places, which tells me like Cena and Bray Wyatt might have some type of, being.
They're supposed to be pumping in crowd noise too. I read an article somewhere where they're talking about
Yeah, like
Vince
what do you
made
think? How do you think
fake
they're going
crowd.
to handle this for the TV viewer at home?
It's a TV show. If they have the angles correct and done well, and they have crowd noise pumped in, I think that would help me buy into it more if depending on how well it's done. But
Even though
no,
it's not real fan reactions like
yeah,
real time.
it's kind of like watching it's kind of like watching Roman Reigns 2 years ago on Hulu when he was just miraculously cheered on the replay but booed savagely in person. So yeah, um, I suspended a lot of my disbelief. If they have the camera angles right and they have some crowd reaction there, and they maybe have some of the people at least in the first 2 rows of the hard camera shot, they could. If anyone could do it, I know we give them a lot of crap, but Vince McMahon, Bucktooth Beaver Boy, like they're all pretty good at what they do. And if anyone can pull this off, a WrestleMania with no fans, however they do it, it's Vince McMahon.
Go ahead. Do you think that
I'm not
we'll
betting
be
against Vince.
You think we'll be watching it, and as it starts, we'll be like, "Holy crap, what a great idea!" Or do you think it's going to be like what we think, and then we're like, "I can't believe they're wasting Mania this way"? Like, what are you leaning towards?
So I think it'll surprise us. I think it'll be better than anticipated, but that's not saying much because I think my expectations for this are just so low that I'm just excited that it's over 2 days and I can pick which day I want to pay more attention to. I assume they're going to have the Raw SmackDown on one day and then the SmackDown on the other day. Is that probably how they're going to do it? I assume.
Well, yeah, that I don't know, but that's a good idea to do that. I mean, I can't believe we're sitting here talking about this because of a rapidly spreading virus that causes pneumonia, like and respiratory failure, like.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon's probably in the vulnerable category at his age.
Nothing will stop Vince McMahon. He doesn't care.
There is no sick. I mean, there is no sick.
The show must go on, pal. Good shit. Pal.
What do you think he's feeling right now in terms of not having the traditional
pressure
with all of that money? And he had to close the XFL too.
Dude,
like, should he be suicidal?
Yeah, he might be. No, I think Vince McMahon feels a pressure for WrestleMania that he hasn't felt maybe since WrestleMania 1. This is kind of one of it's not the financial thing. Like he went all in with WrestleMania, and if he didn't succeed, he would have gone under bankrupt. But I think people come to expect a level of quality with their WrestleMania, and he knows that people are going to expect WrestleMania even if the fans aren't there. So he's going to have to go Disney level of pulling out all the stops to make us feel immersed in this event that's going to be at multiple venues, multiple locations, and pre-taped. So, like I said, if anyone can do it, I believe that the WWE can pull this off, and I think we'll be surprised. I think there's going to be some cringe, weird moments because you're going to get just the wrestler's going to get so into it, they're going to turn to the crowd for that reaction because that's what they've done forever, and it's just going to be kind of like that. But I think more often than not, we're going to see some matches. I feel so bad for Edge and so bad for Randy Orton because what a great story to build up to just have it just fall flat like this. Man, but again,
it's literally a TV show now. Like it's a produced TV show. You know how sitcoms usually have, or any of those Law and Orders, like certain things will have people sitting there watching, and mostly that's sitcoms. Yeah. But other shows don't. They just record it, and then you watch it on TV. You sit there, and an hour goes by, and you're like, "That was a damn good TV show." That's the pressure that Vince McMahon now has. He's going to have to produce WrestleMania in two-day installment. And make us believe when we're watching it, without a crowd, he's going to have to get us engaged like the most clever of TV shows get us engaged as we watch them from our couch.
How many people has he made cry in the last 5 days, you think? I can just imagine him just walking around screaming and being
50% of at least 50%. I mean, most people in the wrestling business, the females obviously don't count because they're emotional, but most of the dudes and people like that you get into the business, you know what to expect. So, but this is crazy And how long before any wrestling makes fun of this coronavirus? Like, is Matt Hardy gonna delete the coronavirus? Like, that would be kind of nifty. But I mean, I
I'm
know
sure
it's
they'll
very
have.
sensitive right now because there's deaths happening. I mean,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. No, they may have. I mean, maybe the Dark Order will say it's. I mean, way to get some heat though. If you really got a heel, man, and you have like a supernatural heel, and you could just be like, "Hey, dude, I fucking made the coronavirus." Like, I don't know. That seems like a 1999 Vince McMahon kind of thing to do. I don't know if
but
that.
remember, he did beat God in a wrestling match,
He
didn't
beat
he?
God. Eddie's in hell. I mean, he's done a lot of questionable things.
And if it wasn't for Benoit, he killed himself on TV.
Right. Yeah.
But he had to
True.
that kind of got scrapped after the Benoit tragedy. I
And
think
someone
that
got fired for smiling at him or something, right?
so. We sit here, and I know our last video we did that was up on both channels, BigVitoBrand.com and over on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. We talked this Wrestlemania, and at that time, it was still going on as planned. We didn't think this virus was gonna, other than China, and now it's pandemic. And here we are talking a completely different scenario on Mania, on Performance Center, pre-recordings, multiple locations. Is there any of those big matches we talked about now that this drastically changes the outcome? Now, I know we said Brock Lesnar. Yeah. I felt he would have retained it anyway. But is there any other match? Like, could this make, because Wyatt and The Fiend started to lose momentum. People don't like the way they presented his matches, the red light and all. Does this help him now having to do something way out of the box with Cena, like making a movie? You know what I mean? Does this help that match or any other matches? Could this give that more special than if it would have happened in front of a live crowd as a filler match?
What was it? They had all the spiders digitally pushed under the ring.
And that fell flat, but that was live.
They have
live. The opportunity.
Maybe they'll have the little kid come out to sing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," all creepy, and John Cena will lose again. Do you remember that when the kid came out and John Cena? He just couldn't handle it. He just shut down and died. I don't know, man. I think the Edge Randy Orton thing is the biggest change. I don't know, because man, he would have had the crowd with Edge like laying there. He could have faked the punt. Like, man, that crowd emotion is just such a dynamic that you can't take out of wrestling. That's like 30% of the show is the crowd. How many times do we say a dead crowd can kill a show and a great crowd can make a show? If there's no crowd, it's 100% going to be on production and the guys in the ring. And it's hard because they're going to have to be carrying about 30% more of the magic of the effort.
So with this rapidly spreading outbreak, how soon before we hear our first wrestler in one of the major promotions has the virus? I mean, because it sounds like the California governor is saying they're going to have 56% people infected. Like, when I hear that, it's like, holy, like, what? Like, that's just a sickening number. Now, I know that he's using it as a strategy to prepare for the worst, and then, sure, it's not even anywhere close to that, but I don't mind being wrong in that situation. But like, you see somebody say that, and that's like 22.5 million people being infected. Like, that's nuts. So at some point, we've seen celebrities, we've seen basketball players,
a lot of basketball players. Marcus
Tom
Smart,
Hanks, his wife.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It's one of the few times I've been really grateful to live just in Northeast Ohio. I know we're not the best state for the coronavirus right now, but I feel a lot more confident living out in the middle of my little suburb as opposed to being downtown Manhattan, LA, Chicago. Like, some of these big cities, man, there's some scary stuff. It's so easily spread. You think
these celebrities are getting it because it's just where they are?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think, like that. And they like Eldris, I can't say his name right now.
Yeah,
Idris Elba, or whatever his name is. Yeah. But they meet so many people. Think about it. So many parties they go to, and this has been around since January. They just started testing for this recently. That's
true.
So, I mean, these guys travel. They probably got it, picked it up. And you'll notice none of them seem to be in horrible health. It's just, if you have a pre-existing condition, you have some immune compromises, asthma, bad asthma, stay away from people. And if you're healthy, don't be a dick. Stay away from people. Like, It's common sense.
Well, I noticed on these websites there are people that actually don't that had it and then don't have it anymore.
Right.
They recovered. So, however but it just sounds like they don't know how these people's own immune systems just are
Yeah,
beating
we
it.
don't
So
we don't know. We also
like,
don't know if you could become reinfected, and there's just a lot of information we don't have.
yeah, and it's like I know scientists and doctors are working on the vaccine and whatever. Like if you have it, you just take a shot and it's gone. But it's weird. We're gonna just have to see how these next several weeks and possibly months end up going. But like
I
this
think June or
world,
July is when we'll have the all clear to stop being stuck inside.
dude, I just can't. I've never thought like non-war related. We would like in my lifetime. I'm like is a meteor going to hit like it did with the
Yeah,
dinosaurs? No, Oh, we watched the movie Outbreak in the '90s. Nah, you know,
right.
we went through swine flu, N1H1, Ebola, and not, that was all done. And then here we are. This now is like, boom. You know what I mean? Just affecting the whole world.
Like I said, man, when I saw billionaires willing to lose millions of dollars by closing up the NBA, NFL, postponing Major League Baseball, I knew that this was a serious situation because the billionaires don't ever want to lose money. But thankfully, we still have assholes like Vince McMahon and Elon Musk who work their people to death and refuse to give them time off. So whatever.
Yep, and we'll see what happens with Wrestlemania 2 days at the Performance Center in multiple locations, pre-taped, and this is how we get Mania. But like some people have said on social media, you got to have some normalcy, and so Vince McMahon
It's
is
true.
trying to be that guy to give people something in a time of, I don't know. It's just I guess as long as everybody's safe and not around people where they can get
Yeah.
it, and hopefully as these weeks pass by, doctors and scientists have a beat on this thing, and next thing you know, it becomes a non-issue and the world starts getting back to normal. But
Hopefully.
39 years I've been on this planet, and this is right up there with the 9/11s this week. You know what I mean? And
It is.
maybe
Well,
even
dude,
far worse because it's globally.
it's global. I just turned 35 on St. Patrick's Day, and I've never had a St. Patrick's Day birthday where all the bars were closed, even on a Sunday. So,
Nuts, absolutely
yeah,
nuts. All right, do your plugs, man. That's enough for me for now.
it's enough for me too, man. You guys can follow me on Twitter at NoDQVice. I do shows with Virtue. We do it for a bunch of people. I'm gonna have him listed all off because I can never remember all of them. I haven't been on the No DQ review the past couple of weeks. I should be back on next week as long as everything goes back to
You're
normal.
quarantined.
I'm quarantined. That's right. So I have nowhere to go. I'm 100% working from home at this point. So that's been good. But Virtue, if they want to see more of me, more of you, more of us together, where are some of those places they can find us?
Over on Andre Corbeil's YouTube page on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Over on the No DQ review, and sometimes the pay-per-view preview and predictions on NoDQ.com. And of course, right here on the BigVitoBrand.com, where Virtue and Vice started it all. And hey, we'll be back next time. Hopefully, we got some better news. Hopefully, the
Right.
numbers are subsiding and looking more positive for this coronavirus. But hey, if you want to tweet me, go ahead at NoDQ_Virtue, and we will try to entertain you on Twitter as well, especially while we're all mostly in our houses for the next several weeks, possibly several months. So for the BigVitoBrand.com, that's Robbie Vice. I am Virtue. We'll see you next time.